The BlackBerry, once a must-have mobile device and the linchpin of corporate IT policy. But while consumers these days are quick to show off their new Apple or Android smartphone, few are as proud to parade their BlackBerry. Meanwhile, Research in Motion, or RIM, the company behind the BlackBerry, just posted a loss of $125 million, its first for 7 years, with revenue down 25% compared to the same period a year ago. It looks like people are starting to fall out of love with the BlackBerry.
When it was cutting-edge technology, it was interesting and innovative, as all cutting-edge technology is when it first comes out, but it's perhaps a little bit played out by now and been overtaken by its rivals. Part of the problem is that the BlackBerry's form factor is obviously geared to its keyboard, and as such it looks much older than other newer iterations of technology on the market. I mean, we're talking about a form factor which is over a decade old, and so obviously you've got the iPhone, which is now 5 years old, and the Android phones which followed it. They obviously have a cleaner, much more cutting-edge look, and they can be pared back, whereas the BlackBerry will always be stuck with its keyboard, which is both its greatest strength and ultimately its greatest weakness as well.
The future for RIM looks bleak. It's losing the innovation race, and its decline is reflected in the US, where it's been losing market share dramatically. RIM has grown in some developing markets, but margins there of course are lower. And shareholders are frustrated because they've seen the value of their stock decline by about 75% in just a year. The company is now valued at between $7 and $8 billion, a tenth of what it was worth at its peak.
That could make it, or seemingly would make it, a takeover target, but whether there is actually anyone out there who is willing to take on what essentially is a turnaround project now is very doubtful. There have been some companies that have been mentioned: Microsoft, Nokia, even Amazon have all been mentioned as potential suitors. But as far as we know, there is no one stepping up at the moment.
Ever since Apple released its iPhone back in 2007, RIM's been playing catch-up. The company is pinning its hope on a new BlackBerry 10 device potentially out later this year, but the timing of its release is crucial.
The problem for RIM will be whether they can get those products, new products, into the market before they lost all momentum in their key markets, key developed markets, and whether they can halt the loss of market share in markets like the US. That in part depends upon whether they get the BlackBerry 10 devices into people's hands before the holidays at the end of this year. If they don't, then they could be in real trouble, because it will mean that their rivals have another holiday selling season with RIM still selling old products into the market.
RIM's new chief executive, Thorsten Heinz, says the company is turning its attention back to its core business users. But even there are concerns. The 4-day global outage last autumn hit RIM to the tune of $54 million. It also hit the company's reputation.
They could always fall back on the fact that it was a bulletproof, ultra-secure, ultra-reliable platform. And I think that when we look back at the difficulties that RIM have had, one major point in that journey was the outage that they experienced last year. And I think the fact that it went on for several days was the real problem. When you get to the point that your CEO is not getting email anymore, and you've had an IT organisation that has always insisted on BlackBerry, you reach a point where you have to look at alternatives. And it could well be that that was the point that certain very loyal BlackBerry users just lost the faith a little bit, and that maybe accelerated some of the challenges that they've had with business users in particular.
So what's next for Research in Motion and the BlackBerry? Well, most analysts think the company is looking at least another 2 or 3 quarters of declining market share and losses. There really is a feeling that RIM needs to make the BlackBerry sexy again, and quickly, if it's going to survive as an independent company. Daniel Garahan, Financial Times, London.